Billy Kirkwood, welcome to Buckshot. How are you keeping?
Fucking yes! Finally on Buckshot. I'm good, man. I'm good. I was good. I'm a good. Who knows? Who knows in this day? Yes, definitely good right now. Breathing and pissing out all the right holes. So it's all good, man. It's all good.
Well, what's the crack, everybody? How are you getting on? Welcome to another episode of Buckshot with the mighty Billy Kirkwood joining me this evening. It's, of course, your host, Tom O'Mahony, as always, just poking me head around the corner going, well, how are you keeping? Brand new Clattered is coming to Care, County Tipperary. We're going to be in the Hill Inn on September 10th. Tickets go on sale this Tuesday for Patreons and then for general release on Friday. So if you're in the locale, I know a bunch of people are already going, I'm going to Care for the weekend. It's a great weekend. It's going to be savage. It's my local town. It's not one to be missed. I will be in Kildare, hopefully with Keith Walsh is going to be joining me either the end of September or early October for Clattered, and I'm going to be in Galway as well for the end of October weekend, where the Galway Comedy Festival. We're going to film it, the whole lot, make a right old bit of crack out of it. Patreons would have gotten this last night along with the video. Thank you all very much for your compliments on last week's episode with Paul Marsh. It was class. They get the ad-free content, they get the video as well, and they get the early release. As well as that, the 7th of August, we're going to be doing a live ramble. Subject being one that we've picked ourselves. We all have a drink, we don't record it. Get a bit loosey-goosey around the neck and just say what we want to say and have a bit of time with each other, hanging out for about an hour. So if you want to become a Patreon and support the show, those are the benefits. Also, it means your own class setup as well. Again, thank you everybody else that came to the Kerry Clattered, North Kerry. We were in Ballylongford last weekend with Paul Crowley. Great crowd, great crack. Lots of photographs and handshakes. I felt like a politician leaving the place. Powerful. Fair play to you. If you're first time jumping on board, subscribe, whatever platform you're listening on. If you can leave a rating, whether it's Spotify or Apple, please give the top one. You can give 5 stars, and that is no use to me at all. 5 stars all the way. Why not screen grab it? Tag me, say you're after giving the 5 stars. It'd be fucking class to know you're out there. If you want to message me, which people have been doing the last while, long form, short form, if you want to message me on any of the social platforms, I will get back to you. buckshotpodcast@gmail.com. We'll find it too. Find its way to me too. So look it, I get back to you whenever you want to get in contact. I love it. I love it. It basically means I'm not in a darkened room by myself. It actually verifies there are people out there. Fair play to you. Moving on to today's guest. What an absolute gent. Wild man, but a hell of a nice fella. We met for the first time, I'm thinking, Oma and Daly's Comedy Club. What a place to meet. It was a love story. We just fell for each other immediately. I was delighted to have him on. Please enjoy the brilliant Billy Kirkwood. I know, I always do this, like, welcome to, as if we hadn't just been, because I'm talking to a radio guy now, you know what I mean, as if we hadn't been talking for fucking 10 minutes before this, like, you know what.
It's like when you do it at gigs, like,
yeah.
and you're gigging with one of your mates. Anyway, this guy's a good friend of mine. Please shake their hand, and it's cool. We've been backstage for half an hour.
Yeah.
Talking about each other's work. But no, it's all part of the glamour, it's all part of the showbiz. And it's good. It's good to see, but it has been absolute fucking ages. Funnily enough, I was just watching one of your videos the other night, and it's an old one. It's one of the ones where you were trying to explain to everyone how to do a barbecue right, and it was a rack of ribs. And I think you were putting them in for about 8 hours. And I can't even remember. I think because I'm just back from my holidays, and we didn't get any barbecue, and I was moaning and using your video as an example. We could do it at home. But no, haven't managed to do it. But it's been ages, man. It's been ages.
I think Oma. Was it Oma we were in?
I think it was Oma. Hang on, is there another one in there?
There was somewhere. There was somewhere.
Wasn't there?
I can't rack. I know for sure there was another one.
Yeah, but it's definitely Oma. Oh God, that seems like a lifetime ago, man. When Daly's was gone and then it was back, and yeah, I haven't been over in Ireland. I was thinking about this for about 4 years, I reckon. Although I'm never sure with lockdown. Do you know what I mean? I think my maths has got all fucked up.
Nobody has any idea what fucking year it is. Jesus Christ almighty. It was like somebody sent me a picture of I was another comedian and we were at a gig. And I had no mustache, had like a tight haircut. And I was like, well, that's clearly 12 years ago. They were like, no, that was like, January 2020. I went,
fuck.
What? Fucking what? What?
Oh man. Look, I don't know what happened. Like I went into lockdown like pretty good and like skinny and in good shape. By the end of it, I'm a flump, man. I've recently been one of these things. I'm going to get back into training because you see pictures of yourself going like, oh, you know, everyone's been hard. It's been hard for everyone during lockdown, and then realized it's been fucking hard for me. You fat bastard. I've literally been like, I'm clearly allergic to fuck all, Tom, because I can eat anything by the looks of it. Absolutely anything.
I know. I turned into a fucking hog for the first 2-3 months, and I went, I know, I better get trousers and shit getting fucking tight.
Yeah.
And I caught a glimpse of myself in a new mirror that herself had ordered, and I hung it in the kind of the stairwell going up the stairs, and I caught a glimpse of myself, and there was this like fucking saddlebag thing hanging over the arse of my. It was, but I applauded myself then in recent times of going, sure, it's fine. A full packet of chocolate biscuits on a Tuesday is absolutely fine. It's fine.
I was all right, like first lockdown. I was actually like lost weight, got in shape, but then everything reopened and clearly went, fuck it, I'm a good boy. I deserve it. So now I'm at that point where it's like, oh, you're in your 40s. Let's see how difficult is this going to be, fuckle. So it's gonna be an interesting couple of months. But here I am with my water and my fucking Disney mug, trying to get fit again. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine.
Signs of being a father, like drinking out of a Disney mug. Although with you, you'd never know, because you know you'd do it just ironically, probably. I'd get it anyway. I mean, to be honest, it's more about me than it is them. Fucking like. I think there's that brilliant Robin Williams quote. It's like, you think like Mickey Mouse to a 5-year-old is going to be amazing. Mickey Mouse to a 5-year-old is a 6-foot fucking rat. Like, you know what I mean? They could not give a fuck about anything like that. But okay, it's just one of them things, isn't it? No, back out gigging, getting back out in the roads. It's cool. And that's what I was just thinking. It's like, fuck, I've not been over in Ireland in ages. I was meant to come over, like, I think it was like late 2019. And then my father-in-law had a heart attack. And it was one of those things where you were like, sure, I'll cancel the gigs. Sure, I'll phone them. But it's, you know, just so you know, sweetheart, it's like, just so you know, sweetheart. No, I'm glad he's going to be fine. I'm glad he's going to be fine. Yeah. But just bear this in mind. There might be no Netflix next month. I'm just saying. I'm sure it's going to be fine. And I'm no doctor. That's all I'm.
I'm no doctor. I'm sure. I'm sure that breathing's typical. I mean, yes. I probably should have phoned an ambulance first, but I'm just letting you know. So since then, I've not been over, but I think I'm going to try and get over early next year. I think last time I was over was gigging for Bose, actually. Maybe it was an ICW show or something. Fuck. All blends into one another, man. It's mad.
I know. It's and you're based out in Glasgow.
I'm based, I'm in a place called Ayrshire, which is about 20 miles from Glasgow. Yes, I might as well be in Glasgow, to be honest. It's like, it's 20 minutes up like literally. I drive out my street, I take a right, and I'm on the motorway. So, and as much as I love Glasgow and what have you, fuck living in a city. Oh my God, living in a city. I'm out here with the country bumpkins and the junkies and my people. I'm out here with, you know what I mean?
I love that because I'm out the country as well, because we moved during lockdown. We were like, oh fuck Dublin, and we moved back to where I'm from. Like, but there is a cross border of kind of country bumpkins, and then the local town like has a lot of scumbags. Like, but it's a great combo. It's like, hey, oh, you got stabbed last night, did you? Oh, while your brother was driving a tractor. Okay, cool.
Do you know, actually, I did a gig in Edinburgh on it was a Saturday night, and there was like a huge group of like farmers from this neck of the woods,
right?
And because I've got my fucked up accent, like, because I don't sound like I'm from Glasgow, I don't sound like I'm from Ayrshire where I grew up. My mum and dad were Irish, so dad was from Belfast, mum was from Limerick. So right. But she moved around. But I'm not saying this to be nasty. My mum put it around a fair bit, so who knows where she was fucking from.
Limerick, yeah, that's classic Limerick. Like,
she's a lady of mystery. Do you know what I mean? It's like, who the fuck knows? She could have been Czechoslovakian for all I know, just hiding out.
Limerick, it's it's west of Central Europe. You know, it's fine.
I reckon she just did it to get a pair of like Jordan pumps in the 80s. Just came here, got stuck. And that's it. She got them. She bought them in the market in Belfast. Realized they were dodgy and just hopped over here with my dad. And so I've got and they just they were like, well, you're not from Ayrshire, you're not from Ayrshire. And it's like, so when I tend to gig outside of like Scotland, I'll always say, or like the Central Belt, I always say Glasgow because it just makes it fucking easier, man.
Yeah.
It just makes it easier.
Because there is one thing that struck me, I was in maybe 2019, I think. I was late. I was in Glasgow for a photo shoot.
Right.
Because a production company that had cast me in a one-man play.
Very nice.
They're based in Glasgow. What's hilarious though is like, and it's never put out to the world, is there's a ridiculously posh side to Glasgow, like as well.
Totally.
It's, as Carl Spain describes it, the bit that wants to pretend it's Edinburgh. It's
completely. Yeah, they would never admit it. Like they're injecting quiche. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're not like,
and they say I'm from here. You're not
exactly
the typical FUH.
And it's Faye. I still remember.
Sorry, yeah.
I still remember my dad saying to a guy, because he had a fucked up accent as well. Because
Betty did,
I still remember him saying to an American guy, "But where are you, Faye, son?" And the guy just like, "I've got nothing. I've got absolutely nothing." And I went, no, he's asking where you're from. Oh, I didn't realize you Scottish folk speak a completely different accent. It's like, right, okay, we do have a different language, but that's not it's not actually the one he's speaking. It's English. Oh, Scottish people speak English. Fuck you. We speak Scottish. How dare you? Even after all this time, we will not have someone. So that is kind of fucked up, but you're right. Yeah, Glasgow is a very posh side, which you're never quite ready for, to be honest.
It struck me. I knew the producer well because he used to cast me in a panto in Limerick, coincidentally. Right. But because he moved in on the Limerick market, saw that there wasn't a big pro panto there. I went, oh, this is a huge concert hall here, and nobody's using it at Christmas time. This is what I'll do, because he'd been in that game for years. It took him 5 years to really get it off the ground, but he knew what he was doing. Like, but he's of Irish descent too, so he always had a foot in Ireland. Kind of, He knew he was going after. But that was what struck me, was how I was like, Jesus, and like the guy opens the door to the studio, like, all right, and he had it was like somebody had injected him with the tourism board Scottish accent.
This is the horrible thing, right? They call it a Glasgow University accent or a Glasgow uni accent. It's an insult now. It's considered to be an insult. So, and the worst thing is, you know yourself, like there's some audiences you've got to, if I speak at my regular speed, if we both went at a regular speed, a mile a minute, people wouldn't make out a fucking word we said. So I'm in front of some audiences you've got to articulate, particularly if you're doing like radio or podcasts or anything like that. Like I do wrestling stuff as well, where I've got to be aware of it's kind of for an American market mostly. But every now and then they'll do a voiceover and they'll go, or they'll say like, we need you to do a voiceover, but it's for America specifically. So we really need to slow that down. And the shit you will get from Scottish people is unbelievable. It's like, listen to you with your Glasgow uni accent. It's like, fuck you, man. I'm using all the vowels. I'm moving my bottom jaw when I speak, not like a fucking muppet, because Scottish people just go, "Hi, mate," and it's like that's how we talk. And the shit you'll get, man. I mean, you just can't. I'm not. I think it's almost like, oh, who do you think you are? I'm trying to earn a fucking wage packet, you dick.
It's a thing that's held on to with pride, is the accent, to the point that one of my favorite things is stumbling across like a thread on Twitter where everybody's writing, or even on Facebook, if it's just in the comments, where people are actually writing phonetically. You're like, we get it. I get it. You're definitely from Scotland. Your name is Hamish McHamishson. I'm pretty sure you're from Scotland, but they write it phonetically, which is absolutely glorious. And I find myself then having to speak out loud and go, "Oh, now I get it." Right? Yeah.
And I'm dyslexic as fuck. I think that's the official diagnosis.
Oh, shit.
So like,
that's like an 11.
Oh, when you're like when you're MCing, you'll know this.
Yeah.
Every now and then someone will give you a name and you'll go, "Oh, fuck."
I'll never get syllables for fuck's
sake. I'll never get that right. I always remember an American comic called Konstaki Konopoulos.
I hear.
And it's just like, oh, fucking hell. Konstaki. Jesus Christ. And I like, and you do the whole thing, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the wonderful Stag Eagle Way.
Yeah.
You just go up at the end. And I always remember there being a couple of comics at the back going, I fucked it. Like every fucking night I gigged with this guy. And I think I got it right in the last night. Or even worse, when you've just got to go, like, I'll level with you. I see your name written down. I haven't the first clue how to pronounce it. Could you, how do you pronounce this? And they go, oh, it's easy. It's Eve. Of course it fucking is. Jesus Christ. What the fuck did I think it was? DN? It's Dean. Dean. Of course it's Dean. Fucking Jesus Christ. Like anyone else smell toast? I think about a fucking stroke. Oh my God. But it just one of the delights. Listen to us moaning about having to pronounce people's names as they come to the stage. And then somebody gives you money at the end of it. Is that not fucking ridiculous?
It's the preciousness of stand-up comedy. Well, since I've come back and I was really trying to, I was fucking loving every moment. I was so appreciative of everybody coming to see. And
yeah.
But in the last month, I actually had to pull myself up a small bit. I had a whinge inside my head. Thankfully, I didn't say it out loud about this girl that was yawning. She was pregnant as fuck. And I'm like, that's her fucking deal. But mid show in my head, I was going to go, and I was going to say it out loud, but kind of try and make it funny. But then I just went, oh, park all that, Tom, you dickhead.
I get that.
You know, but she was, in fairness, nobody else could see her. But to me, you know yourself, you could be in a room with 20,000 people, but the one fucker with a straight face. Yeah. You're going, what's his fucking problem? Everybody in his family died in a train accident on the way here. You know, well, fuck him. Tell his face he's enjoying himself.
I did a monkey battle. I did monkey battle.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes opening the monkey battle can be, it's not as much fun as closing. Like the opening act and the closing act, they swap. So like one night they do like they do like 4 shows a day now actually. And like, so if you're doing like the 7 o'clock show and the 9 o'clock show, you maybe open one and do the other. And the opening one's never as much fun. Of course it isn't, because you're opening the fucking show.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think in my head I was whinging about it. And then I kind of had a word with myself like going, so let me get this straight. You're doing what you love. You're getting fucking paid for it. And remember when you couldn't get a gig? Like, remember when no one would be interested in bringing the fucking old goth weirdo to their fucking clubs? Remember that? Remember? Oh, wait, the younger goth weirdo, whatever, you know, remember all that? Fucking have a nut up, and they're enjoying themselves. Get the fuck off the stage.
Yeah.
And I never want to be that guy that goes like, do you know my pet peeve, Tom? And I would say this to any fucking act. See, when an act turns around and goes, you know what it's like when you're the first one on? You weren't the first one on. The fucking MC was the first comic on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That rips my knitting like it was his fault. And I had a great gig. But because I even watched it back and went, I had a really great gig. Oh, just because they weren't fucking carrying you shoulder high from the building, you moany-faced old bastard.
Isn't it funny though? You could literally rock to fucking arena.
Yeah.
On a Friday, Saturday night, you do all right. Fine. Yeah. You do actually probably well in a club or any other. And it's I'm fucking clearly terrible at this.
Yeah, that's it. You'll come down. We're such fucking babies, man.
Yeah.
Like I remember, although Sarah Milliken always gave me years and years ago, gave me a fantastic bit of advice. And it's true. It's the 11 o'clock rule. You feel good or bad about a gig until 11 o'clock the next day. Like if you're walking around going chest out, going fucking rocked it last night. Yeah. Well, it's 11 o'clock now. You better fucking nut up. You got to do it again tonight. And I love the fact that a comedy, man, it can bring you crashing down. Like I remember supporting Frankie at the bottom of the Falls Road.
Yeah,
doing that gig on the Friday night. Rocking it at a fucking bodyguard, which I've never had before, and I never fucking went again. I didn't even know they'd assigned me a bodyguard until I went, I'm going to go back to Europa and get my bags in as we're leaving tonight. And they went, I'll come with you. Well, I don't swing that way, but what the fuck is this? And they go, this is I think this is Jono. He's your bodyguard. And I went, has this motherfucker been following me around all night? I thought he was someone's mate. I thought he was somebody's mate. But he's my bodyguard. And then we had a fucking decoy booking on a ferry. It was fucking showbiz, man.
Holy shit.
We had a decoy booking. because that was the whole thing. They were like, "Oh, we're going to fly you back." And no, you've got a decoy book. And I was like, "Fucking yes!" How amazing is this? But so anyway, like, so I do that gig, rock it, so much fun. Next night, I'm doing a gig in a pissing tent in Inverness to 30 people, and everyone is just dying on their hole. Actually, that's unfair. Everyone was having a good gig to 30 people in a pissing tent in the middle of Inverness. Do you know what I mean? And I do remember somebody going, "You're right." It's like, just thinking about the biz, man. Just thinking about the biz. Just bring you down. But that's still the thing, man. Like, even during lockdown, I did a couple of, like, we were talking about the Zoom gigs and that.
Yeah.
I did a green screen gig here in Glasgow, which was really cool. Like it was like something like a WWF or something, WWE. Like, they had a big screen with all the Zoom faces on it, and there was a green screen behind us, so it looked like we were in a club, and the acts never got near each other. We had different mics, and I remember doing, and it was the closest for me to a gig in like that first like 8 months or 9 months, whatever it was. And I just remember going, "Motherfucker, I'm still in love with this.
Yeah.
I'm still in love." It'd have been easier not to be. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'll go and be a joiner or something, I'll go get somewhere trade, but I'm still fucking in love with it. And that's the cool thing about it, man, is even after all these years, I'm still in love with it.
It's I know. And that's the thing. Cause I get fucking pissy with people that kind of, I remember, I'll never forget coming out of a club one time, and just on my own show, and it was great. It was to a small venue in Galway, great show. And the guy that was opening for me, he was a bit gothy, and he's a hell of a nice lad or whatever. And walking up, but he recognized a girl that was like sitting on a windowsill rolling a fag. He's like, "Oh, hey." She's like, "Hey." I'm like, "Fuck you in your haze. I'm having a great time here. Fuck off. I'm getting chips." And I was about to walk away, and she was like, "So what were you guys doing in there? Were you just having a party?" "Oh, no," he says, "I was opening for Tom. I was supporting Tom. Tom did his show, his stand up." And she's like, "Cool. Yeah, I think I'll give that a go sometime." I'm like, "No, don't you dare speak about it like that. It is way big." You can't just nonchalantly go, "I'll give it a go. Like, I'm going to try new eyeshadow next week." It's way better than that, you fucker. You know,
And then they'll be fucking amazing at it. That's what fucking annoys me.
What was killing me is that, she'll have her own fucking TV show within a fucking month. Are you joking me? Jesus Christ, because you don't give a fuck about it. But the specialness of it, and we did something similar like that in Galway again. It was the screens, it was Jason Byrne, myself, and Christ, who else was there?
Yes, I did see that. It was it wasn't the one they beamed into Glasgow. No, it wasn't. They
did another one. They did beam one. They could have. They sold a limited amount of tickets to see how it would run, because I did another one for another club the week previous.
Yeah.
And their system crashed and everything. They sold way too many tickets. They sold like 500-600 tickets.
Fuck.
And the system just couldn't take the loading. It was just like, you would have wanted the fucking, something out of Pine Gap, or you would have wanted fucking the NSA or something to support. I knew, because the screen was up in front of me. We were in the club. Actually in the club, fucking big cameras and everything, but I could read the comments that were down the bottom, and there was lads back and forth go, "Yeah, man," and you just knew their accent was the fucking North Dublin accent, man. And that one where they used no upper lip, but all the bottom lip. So, and they're going back and forth going, "Oh, did you get a bag in? Did you get some coke in?" You're like, it's lockdown, you fucking spacers. You're just doing coke in your opposing sitting rooms. Like, what do you fucking do? And you're commenting about it in the okay, this is going to be a shit box. But the following week, and just like that, I came away going, I drove away with that tingling in my chest again of going, "Oh Jesus, Jesus Christ." I needed a celebratory bag of chips or something.
Yeah. I
hadn't had that in a year and a half at that point. I was like,
well, it was weird, man, because like when everything kind of kicked off here, right? I did some online stuff and bits and bobs. Zoom wasn't really a thing. Zoom hadn't really kind of become a thing yet. I think it existed, but nobody had managed to figure it out. Like, we were doing a couple of gigs where we were just like doing it just to the camera.
Yeah.
Well, like, no reaction. And I won't lie to you, I fucking hated those. I've never felt more unfunny in my fucking life. Going like, Jesus, this is it. This is the end. And then I did it. The Stand Comedy Club in Edinburgh started doing online ones.
Oh yes,
where they'd be like a couple of people in the room, maybe, No, in fact, I tell you, I hadn't even got to that point. I think it was poor Mark Nelson in a room on his own with a clipboard, and I watched a couple of them, and I was like, hey, I'll send in a video, but it was watching some people not able to understand it. I guess I'm quite lucky because I've done some radio, and I've got a little used to just like monologuing it.
Yeah.
But it was like watching the comments and all the other videos like in real time, like people getting slaughtered, and all I said to myself was like, man, just as long as I can do all right, just as long as I could, like, I do okay. And I think I got them with a couple of lines really early, like it, and it was like, thank fuck, man. But it was just watching it all evolve. Like we started doing some drive-in gigs here. I know you guys did. I'd say drive-in gigs. Sorry, no, I'm right. Drive-in gigs. I kept calling them drive-through gigs for fucking ages, man. They were suck ass. They were fucking terrible. But we were quite lucky. We did a couple here where they had the big screen and they had like a second compere out with like a microphone in the cars. And I was like, okay, that is so fucking clever.
Yeah.
That is so fucking clever. And so it was interesting to see how everything was kind of fucking adapting, which gave me hope, man, because you see my last gig before lockdown, it was so fucking grim. It was like,
what was it? Where was it?
I'll tell you what it was. It was in a place called Steak and Cherry, Sauchiehall Street in Glasgow on St. Paddy's night, right? Because every now and then I'll get a gig on a FIFA ruling. Do you know what I mean? It's like, he's got an Irish mammy. He can get him along. To ask him if he could bagora up a bit if anyone complains. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, so Boris had done that dickhead thing where he'd went, if you could all close your businesses, I mean, I'm not telling you to yet, but if you could like kind of, I don't know, but it's bad. And so everywhere kind of shut down, but a couple of places were
the cunt is hoovering fucking cocaine off a mantelpiece.
Exactly. Do you know?
What I mean?
So this was like right at the beginning. Like, I think we're 2 days removed from lockdown. Like we're like 2 days removed or something like that. And we did this gig at a place called the Steak and Cherry. I think Monkey Barrel had just announced they were closing. McDonald's and it was a grim time. But we're on the message going, is this gig still happening? And the guy that ran it, I won't name check him, man, because it's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth the hassle, and I'm scared of him. So everyone's going like, is this gig happening? He's like, yeah, definitely. One of those guys, like, he gets paid if he does the gig. He doesn't get paid if he doesn't do the gig. It's like fine, fuck it, we'll turn up. There is a family booked in who, I'm not joking, the dad is dying of colon cancer. This is like their last fucking meal. And there's a couple in who, bless it, were all right. There was a couple of couples in who were all right. So there's about 8 people in this room, and a row of them dying. And the funny thing is, I was meant to be headlining it, and I turned up and went, fuck that. Like, allegedly, fuck that. But everyone's like going, everyone's going, I don't want to do the gig. I don't want to do the gig. But then a couple of the comics, man, were like, listen, this is a bag of shopping to me. And it's like, you're right. Fuck it, we'll do the gig. I didn't even take a fee that night because I knew I'd at least have the radio for a wee bit,
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck it, yeah, we'll do the gig anyway. But I still remember being on stage and it not being fun at all. Right? It just, fuck, man. I did not dying, but like, they didn't hate me, but it wasn't happening. Do you know what I mean?
Nobody had any business being there. Let's be honest. Not the acts, not the fucking audience. Not because of COVID, but just because nobody had any fucking business being there.
Shouldn't be a thing, man. The saddest St. Paddy's thing you've ever fucking seen and like, not one act's Irish. Not one, but by the way, not one act is Irish. Not one fucking act, man. Fucking typical. And I do remember being on stage and thinking, the words went through my head, not like this. This can't be the end. Not like this. That, I swear to God, I will fucking build a comedy club underground with the fucking zombies and the flesh eaters, and I will do a fucking gig to them, but it will not end like this. And walking back to my car and phoning my missus, and she's like, so how was the gig? It's like, I am coming home. And she went, that good. It's like, I'm just coming home. I don't give a fuck. And then I think 2 days later, everything locked down. So it was like, But man, like you say, it gave such a renewed thing. Like everything opened back when we started kind of slowly, a couple of people get in touch going, the gig we're doing in July, it is happening. And you're going, what? How? What do you mean it's fucking happening? And it's like, well, and this was like a year later. I think the first gig I did was 2021 in like mid-May up in Aberdeen, because they were like the only guys that were like on a like low level. I remember the levels. Remember the level? I know it was slightly different over there. Remember the levels?
Oh, I remember the fucking levels. Yeah,
yeah.
And they'd have counties here pitted against each other, because that's what they were doing. They'd go, oh well, there was 300 today in Leitrim. You're like, shut the fuck up.
Oh man, it was so. Like when I lived here in like Crooked Home, right, which is an East Ayrshire, right, yeah, we were on like level 3, and Irvine, which is just like literally 8 miles away, was on level 2, and we're like, do we get arrested? Like, are we breaking the law if we go 8 miles? Like, if we go to the McDonald's and like, what the fuck is going on? So, so we went up and did that first gig there, and I've still got it like on my TikTok, and it makes me laugh because it was the first gig anywhere. I think it might have been the first indoor. No, was it the first indoor gig? I'm not 100% sure. Maybe Monkey Bar was doing stuff. But like, it's so funny how I got on stage, got to the mic, and I remember just for a second as the audience were clapping, I nearly cried. Like for a millisecond, I felt like, oh God. All right, yeah. Okay, I got it. Hello, Bankery, or whatever the fuck it was, do you know? But it made me so grateful that everything kind of has came back. And well, I know like we're battling against the fucking troubles of the world just now. It feels like we're getting fucking dry humped from every fucking direction. But man, as long as we can go out and still tell some dirty jokes, everybody's happy. Everybody's happy.
That's the thing. Like, and I suppose the translation, you'd see lads that base themselves in Scotland all the time. It's so funny, like they can just come over and seamlessly slip in to the Irish thing. But because you see lads who come from, and maybe only down the road in Northern England and stuff, they'll come with a great name, based on it or whatever, and they'll come and all of a sudden they go off into the fucking sand real quick, and you're like, oh, that shit doesn't fly. Okay, yeah, that doesn't fly. Because I always found it going to Scotland. Like before I'd ever fucking go to London for a gig, I'd go to Scotland for, if the option was to go, because you're like, well, this is just, one slips into t'other so easily. Like,
you guys have such a fucking strong scene, man. Like, I honestly, like, I like, and when Bo's would book like Oma, like, I was always like blown away. It's like everyone's a fucking killer. Yeah. You know what I mean? Everyone's an absolute bella. So, and it made it so much fun because it made you raise your game. And the thing is, man, like, I'm a fucking geek for comedy. Like, I watch comedy like football. Like, if I see you on stage doing well, I'm like, fucking come on, Tom. That's it. Show these cunts his boss. That's just how I kind of watch comedy. But you're right. It's always it is weird how different the scenes are all over the place. I always find Irish comics do very well in Scotland, and I think mostly it's playing like the Empire. First time I played the Empire, shitting myself, right? Because I think it was me and a comic called Tony Jameson. I think you might have met Tony. Yeah. I think you might have met Tony. He's a good guy. I don't know if he's doing comedy anymore. I think he might have. I think he might have gone back to school teaching or something. Not 100% sure. I always thought he was amazing. But we got booked to do the Empire. And he's doing like, I think 20 minutes to open. And like, I didn't even know what the running order was. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, so it's, who would it have been? It would have been Colin. It was definitely Colin MCing. And he's doing an opening 20. And I'm meant to do like an opening. I'm going to do a closing like 35 or something or 40. I can never remember. It's like a huge number. Part of me's going like, fucking and I've heard all the stories about like people coming to the Empire and dying on their hole. And I'm like, and it's the first gig I'd ever done in Ireland, and I'm like, oh my fucking God, I've never been, to this day, it's still one of the biggest fucking terrors I've ever had before a gig, but it's also still hands down one of my favorite gigs of all time, because what a fucking crowd.
Oh yeah,
what a fucking crowd.
Like, what I mean, the scene in the north of Ireland, like Belfast, is just like, it's unprecedented right now up there. It's not like it's got its own microclimate. It's not like any place on the planet. Like Kevin Hart playing 21 times.
Oh, it's mad. It's like, honestly, it's like LA and obviously Big Geddes and stuff, and like fucking ridiculous, man. But they've all got podcasts and empires and tours and glass fucking mansions and shit.
Like, and because of my association with the lads, I garnered a following up there that I wouldn't hardly garner up the fucking road here. You know, and but when people follow you up the north, they fucking follow you. Like I've said this before in the podcast, but I opened a show on the go, and I opened it in Belfast.
Right.
Sold like fucking hotcakes. But two people showed up with hoodies that they'd ordered, merch hoodies from the podcast.
Shit.
But they walked up. I was like, oh yeah, cool. I mean, my next door neighbor could have 10 of them in the cupboard, but he'd never tell me. You know what I mean? Like, he fucking wouldn't. But a couple showed up and they're chatting away. And I noticed when they turned around to walk away, they had my name stitched into the back. And I went, I don't think that's an option. Is that an option? I don't think. And I had to ask him. I said, sorry, where was that? Oh no, we went and got that done ourselves.
Oh, Jesus.
And
holy shit.
The staunch Irish fucker in me couldn't be happy for myself. I was just like, oh, don't be nice to me, for the love of don't.
I'm fucking awful. Like I've got a lot better.
Are you bad like that? You can't
fuck,
deal with
man,
the
I'm terrible.
right? I'm getting itchy hands just fucking going, Jesus, stop.
And I hate people that are really good at it. Like, I hate people that are just, they soak it up, and it's like, we fucking don't deserve this.
I'm filthy. Like, don't look at me.
Don't look at me. What I do, there's no art in this. Running off, nothing from the waist down. It's I find like I've got a lot better at it. Like even like doing the radio and the wrestling, like you'll get people that are like, they're really into what you do, and they just want to like interact with you, and you're like, oh fuck, I've got nothing. All I do is all I do is just be me. I don't do anything interesting. You know, I feel like I must be such a fucking disappointment. Even yesterday, I'm out shopping in the town where I live, and a couple who hadn't seen me in ages get, oh man, what's been going? And they were just asking, oh, you're the heart and soul of ICW, and we never miss your radio show in the morning. And I'm just like, fuck, I'm so glad I don't know that when I'm doing either of those.
Yes, don't fucking say that to me, Jesus Christ.
The fucking nerves. I feel like I should be nasty to them just to bring myself down. I always remember like Mick Foley, the wrestler, right, told me like he had a thing at one point that whenever someone would show him that they got a tattoo of him, he would go out his way to be a dick. just so they would look at that tattoo every morning and go, Foley, like that, like every morning. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you about the rest, but I do want to, just because that reminded me of like the idea of a tattoo of somebody. I remember hearing it one time. It was Michael Keaton was filming Birdman in New York.
Oh, cool.
And one of the runners came over in between, bit of downtime. Says, "Hey, Mike, there's a guy I want to. You have to meet this fella. He's just been cycling past, and I had to stop him." He went, "Oh yeah, cool. Let's." And he goes out off the set and meets this guy on the street, and it's like this young guy who's a bit of an attitude on him, on his sitting on his bike going, what the fuck are these fuckers stopping me for? And he says, show me your tattoo, and it was Beetlejuice, really well done on his leg.
Fuck.
And Keaton was like, good, gave him the look and everything. That guy was buying nothing. He just looked at him like, so who's this guy? Who the fuck is this? I just cycled off like,
didn't even know who he was.
No idea. And what was hilarious is Keaton loved that. He goes, I fucking love that. He was such a prick. He says, because I don't think I could have dealt with him going, oh my God. It was funny that came out in him, and he's fucking Michael Keaton. You know what I mean? He loved that your man was a prick about it too. That he was like, yeah, whatever. Man.
Fuck, I don't know what I would do if somebody got like a tattoo. Like, honest to fuck, I would be just like, I will pay for the laser removal right now. Right now.
Somebody will get one with your wristlet. Somebody will get one.
Oh, that just makes me sweat just thinking about it.
They will.
And I used to do a show called Show Me Your Tattoo, which I'm probably going to bring back next year. It's a kind of, I used to call it like the world's first ever improv comedy chat tattoo show, because it could never be the same show twice.
Of course.
Because people would turn up with their tattoos, and we would talk a little bit about them and their story, and it would always be loads of fun. Like, you'd get some absolute fucking belters. And I remember once there was a guy, they turned up, and what he had, it was on his dick, there's no two ways about it, but what he had was he had a dragon tattooed up the shaft, with claws kind of holding on to the testicles. But the thing was, I wasn't seeing in the middle of a room of people. I wasn't seeing this like angry, like erect or anything. It just kind of, you know how the baddie in RoboCop, the one that gets melted.
Yeah.
It's just kind of jibbling, and he could see that I wasn't impressed. So he was like, "So, what do you think about it?" I'm like, "Don't fucking shake it at me." Like a fucking pervert Jim Henson puppet, you filthy bastard. I've seen a lot of dick tattoos, man. I've seen a lot of dick tattoos. So every time Paddy talks about having like having the dagger up, I'm always go, "That's a fucking cracking story." But let me tell you a couple of dick tattoo stories. I've seen lightsabers. I've seen people's names. Or why do we ever get their own name tattooed up the tip of their dick? I don't know. One of the best ones I ever saw was a guy. And he had, it was a girl. I beg your pardon. She just above the essentials. She had tattooed the words, "If you're close enough to read this, thank you." That's what it said. Just a little bit.
It's like
a fucking eye test.
Something you'd see on the back of a fucking motorbike.
She just got it there. And I was like, I like her. And we've been married now about 15 years. So.
Because you were rake of tattoos. Have you ever thought, you know what I need to tattoo? My dick and balls.
It's never even like I've been talked out of tattooing my neck so many fucking times. It's unbelievable. But I've not the neck of my dick.
I love that your dick has a neck as well.
What I would do is,
shoulders. His cock has shoulders.
I would get a tattoo of a bigger dick. Can we do that? Can we do that? Like a ruler, but all the measurements are wrong. I think you'll find that it's a 12-inch dick because it says that on it. No, man, I've got to admit, I've never. It would just be the awkwardness. Like I think they've got to like tie it off and stuff like that. And I'm just like, fuck that. I'd rather get my arsehole tattooed. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, there's the case in point of a tattoo, I suppose, is display really for the crack. But I mean, like, unless you're going, hey, you're some sort of flasher. Or like those light things when like you spin them and like say a word. If I could do that with my dick, so I could like windmill it and it would say something. It's laugh.
Like,
just says the word laugh.
I applaud. What a way to end a set. What a way to end a set. You swing it, it just says good night. Say what you want about Billy Kirkwood. He said shit, but the ending, you just cannot fault it. In
fact, it even made a clapping sound in the wind as it swung. It was...
Yeah, I put like clackers in it, like in your bike wheels when you were a kid.
Spooky dokies. Yeah. So tell what the wrestling then, because I mean, you've always... You're obviously a maniac inside your head, like I am. And even lockdown, the crib and moaning I was getting from some of my mates. I was like, I don't know what to fucking take, because I started kind of a game show thing with Gordon Rochford of those conspiracy guys. And it was just purely because I was going to eat my phone and computer. It was either that or I go to the woods and leave, and no family, no nothing. Something had to happen. So hence the Zooms and all these things. And you struck me because you were always fucking busy. I was like, yeah, he's a kindred spirit, all in the same way that he's obviously a maniac inside his head, and you can't sit still.
He just had to do something. It's like, I mean, it would have been so easy. Like, don't get me wrong, when it first happened, like, it was for the first time in, like, I don't know, man, like 10 years, it was like, all right, I can slow down a bit. But I was also dead worried about, like, if, you don't use it, you'll lose it. Like, the motion and the motion and all that, it's like, and don't get me wrong, I know like people went and they kind of built themselves on Twitch and all that type of thing, which I had so many people that did really well on it going, you'd love Twitch, and I just couldn't get into it. It just wasn't my thing. But that again, it's like you say, it's that kindred spirit. It's like, well, if they're doing it, I think there's always that wee voice that goes, well, you're not doing it. You don't do that.
Yeah.
Because it's not your thing. So yeah, man, it was also like, sorry, that's my kids. One of them's getting ready to go to bed, and I can hear him losing his shit just outside the door. That's not somebody getting tortured. I don't know if you can. Hang on.
I could just.
Oh, he's losing it, man. He's fucking losing it. Mrs. K will have the blow darts out any minute, and then he'll be sweet as a nut. A little bit of heroin before he goes to bed.
Heroin and Calpol.
Heroin and Calpol. But that was it, man. It was like Zooms hadn't like taken off, so I was doing like online broadcasting. Like you say, people didn't know. And I started doing my broadcast thing, which was a podcast for a beard oil company that a mate of mine runs. He was like, look, I need to put something out. Will you do this? And I was like, cool. And doing the radio show, it was about keeping things going. And it was also like for your own fucking sanity, man, because it's like, I'm not lying down. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm still annoyed at the people that did fuck all for 2 years and then they're back now, and you're like, oh, good for you, mate. Yeah, good for you. You weren't at the fucking cold face. Do you know what I mean? Like, shut the fuck. Oh, really? Oh, is this kind of headline? Oh, is he doing? Oh, fuck this guy. But it was, man, it was just about keeping things going, and like, and even like the wrestling thing, when that shut down, and that was
what I was going to ask you. Like, was wrestling obviously being a contact sport and all the rest of it just? Was that even? I mean, I know 2 days in you were still doing a gig, albeit a horrendous get up. When did wrestling go? Nah.
Well, I remember in February, right? I remember in February of that year when we started hearing about cases coming to Scotland, that a couple of the guys were going, "This is trouble." And I said that to my. I remember saying that to my missus, going like, "I think this is bother. I think this is trouble. I don't know what it is, but I think this is. I think we might be off for 6 months." And everyone has said, nah, we're going to be back in 2 weeks. It's like, right, okay, fair enough then. We don't know how that fucking worked out, but no, wrestling shut down, man. They couldn't get crowds. There wasn't, like, we saw in the football, like, no crowd football. It was like, nobody had even considered any of those things. Do you know what I mean? They weren't a thing. Like, comedy without a crowd, nobody, like, had ever even considered them. So I think memory serves, I can't remember if we were off for a year or so, but they started doing tapings again. And even that was like, so ICW used to do, the garage in Glasgow and the O2 and the Hydro and all these type of places. But they did have a training school, like a production, and they turned it into a studio. Like, it's pretty impressive what they did. They built a ramp in the entrance, like Monday Night Raw. They built a little mini version of that. And, wrestlers were only allowed to come at certain times, and they were, they had to lat flow test, and it was fucked up. We couldn't be there. Like, the commentators, the presenters, we couldn't be there. We had to get sent the tapes and do it after the fact, which was easier than I thought it was going to be honest. I mean, I might have lost my fucking mind during that time, because I think there was a couple of times that Mark Dallas that runs it going like, I need to talk to you about the commentary. I need to have a word, because, like, are you all right? Is everything okay? It's like, I
can only imagine, like, were you recording the commentary there in your studio at home?
Where I am right now. Now.
You're like, out of your fucking mind.
You're out of your mind. But I think I also, like, wasn't able to, like, be, because you're kind of, I don't want to say you're playing it straight, but you're telling a story, and there's nothing worse than maybe you inadvertently, not yucking it up, but you maybe might say something terrible, like, in the middle, like, awful in the middle of, like, what is a serious story, and then some poor bastards going, how the fuck do I cut that out? And even though it's an over 18s thing, like, you're meant to do your job, but yeah, that was what we did. And then I can still remember, like, then it was like, slowly but surely, all right, we can all be there on production day, but it's still no crowd, but everyone's got a lap flow. Right, we're going to have the commentary team in another room. So that was even mental. Like, they were filming a show real time, but we were in another part of the building. Like, we didn't come into contact with anyone. And then we were moved into because that's the thing is as well, man, we are talking at full volume. Like, I'd imagine that'd be pretty fucking annoying if a wrestler is there working on it and you're saying something like going, oh, he fucked that. And it's like, oh, give me the fuck that.
Actually, that would be one of the greatest fucking moments in wrestling history. If they broke character with, the fuck do you mean? Getting into a fight. Well, you've put on a lot of weight during lockdown. So have you. Well, I'm not in fucking trumps, you flump. It's just, but yeah, that would have been. I would love to do that just once. Just go full out bad guy and just get on the mic and just rip them all. Maybe I'll ever do that on my last day. Just give me that. They're getting fucking told. And then crowds came back, man. And we were all kind of shitting ourselves, like how our crowd's going to be. And I think I was lucky because by then, had I started gigging regularly in front of crowds, maybe I felt like I was doing gigs fairly regularly. And I was able to kind of assure people, because I don't know if you found this when you went back to gigging, Tom. Crowds were like, we were all worried about how audiences were going to be. Fuck me, they were ready to go. Like they were not reserved. Those that had chosen to come, despite all the Jesus, your heads are going to explode. The motherfuckers that they were ready to rip their fucking shirt off.
They were
Like
fucking
there was
good.
one of the second or third gigs I did, I'll never forget. Like it was like I was going, it's not that fucking funny, lads. Relax. But they were fucking ripping the fucking roof, and I looked down, and it was like this couple just absolutely fucking tooth and nail fucking hammering into each other right on the. It was like they got so excited with just being out and laughing and everything that the emotions were just near and just started fucking tearing into each other. And I'm like, I actually pointed out, when I don't want you to go home, but you fucking should go somewhere.
You should.
Now,
Like,
don't stop. I'm not telling you to stop. Actually, walk crab-like out the door, wearing the fucking heads off each other as you are, with your hands down each other's trousers. But in that moment, I was like, now this won't last. We'll go back to normal at some point.
Yeah.
But this is fucking beautiful. We're at the fucking this hedonistic wildness of excitement.
And that was it. Being able to tell people that hadn't gigged, and like even the guys that are wrestling, it's like, guys, trust me, they want to be here.
Yeah.
They're not going to be sitting there going, oh Jesus, like it's a time to let loose. So man, when we started getting in front of crowds was great. When we started getting, I remember that first gig back at the Barrowlands and being like, the audience size wasn't where it was quite yet. Like we did have that. Like I don't know if, like, obviously I think I did Monkey Battle. Like one of the first gigs I did like in Edinburgh was like to 23 people. But I didn't care. It was fucking great. Like they were all spaced out, didn't care. And then that 23 people went to 50 people. And then I think I went down to do the stand in Newcastle thinking it was going to be, and this was again the weird thing, like the rules in Scotland and the rules in England were slightly different. And I'm thinking I'm going down to do a gig in front of like, I don't know, like 30 people or something. And I turn up and there's 100 people. And I was like, holy fuck, this is the most amount of people I've seen in like 18 months. And it just been, in fact, I remember one of the gigs, like getting in the middle of it because it was just having such a good time and actually going, and a big laugh and the laugh going on for a second and me just taking a wee second to come back and go like, I'm sorry, I'm just having such a lovely fucking time.
Yeah.
Just admitting it, and you can see people going, yeah, we fucking are having a lovely time. It's like, all right, well, you're a little more enthusiastic than I'd like, but never mind. And then just seeing it all come back. And I mean, don't get me wrong, it was also weird as well, because like here in Scotland, like they only seem to be a pull, like, I don't want this to sound bad, but there only seem to be a handful of guys that were like match fit. There was. Had been doing, and you'll know what it's same over there. It's like guys that had been doing podcasts, had been doing bits and bobs, were like some of the first to like start doing stuff again, the gyms and what have you. So it was weird to like going like, right, okay, you're getting signed to headline the Newcastle stand this weekend. It was like, am I right? Why? I normally compare, or I would be in another slot. And it's like, well, you can do it. We know you can do it. But we need the show to be good.
Yeah.
We need the show to like really rocking, and that was just the cool thing. And I fucking loved it. I'll always be very nostalgic for that period when people were just, like you say, like couples turning up and having such a good time. They're just making themselves fucking airtight in your front row, and you're like, they're just finger blasting each other. What harm's it doing, really?
How often do you get to do the wrestling then in between gigging and all the rest of it? Like, how often's the show? And do you travel much outside Scotland with it?
Well, that's changing this year. We're going to be going back on the road this year. Like we're heading down to Newcastle and Cardiff and stuff like that this year. Again, but the shows themselves, I mean, we're on the WWE network, which is the huge thing with WWE. So what we do is we tape like 3 shows for that in like one night. So it's like every 3 weeks on a Sunday night. Because that's probably the best night. At one point they were talking about moving it to Saturdays, and I think like a lot of people going, don't do that, you'll be up against everything. Like you'll be up against fucking everything. Don't do that. No, we're so it's like every 3 weeks, and it's a TV show. You're presenting a TV show, and I get to work quite close with the production guys, so that's good, because in another life I was meant to, like, my degrees in like media theory and production, like I was meant to go and work in post-production and what have you. And then I went, I'm shit at that. I'll tell some jokes instead. And here we are. So we do that every 3 weeks. And we tape like the big shows sometimes. And it's still kind of, I think we're kind of off to the races, but it's still kind of, everyone's trying to get it going. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think, I get the feeling these are like a real boom period coming in, like live entertainment. Like some of the big dog stuff seems to be doing really well, but I think below it, I think we're pushing up the way, man. We're pushing up the way. I think we're going to get there. It's looking good in Scotland.
That's class. But I mean, I suppose it would make sense, like when you think about it, that you're putting so much effort in that it eventually will gather momentum and actually start trucking again. Once you can spread your wings down as far as, the north of England and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I've been down there gigging and stuff, and there's only so much of a crowd here in Scotland, and you got to expand, haven't you? And it's like us. Like, imagine we just gigged in the first gig we ever did. Yeah. Imagine we never left that bit. And I know plenty of comics to do that, and fair game to them if that's what they want to do and they're happy with. I'm not going to give them a hard time, but no, man, you need to get on the road, and the fact that ICW is going to do that is going to be cool. And because I just rediscovered my love of traveling when everything opened back up. Do you know what I mean? I just rediscovered my love of travel. That's why I was actually going, fuck me, I've not actually been over in Ireland. Why the fuck's that been? And it's probably just been the craziness of the last couple of years, because it was a bit like basically you had a row of mammies along the fucking the side of the island going, fuck off, just screaming at us like nobody could get in until the stag nights were allowed. Then we were off to the races.
Well, yeah, you have no problem once the stag nights. Yeah, do you know what? You should try and make your way, if you can, get on board of the Galway Comedy Festival at the end of October. Now that's
well, it might be a wee bit late now, but
I know. Well, you don't have to bring your show around. They call it like it's a festival, but you're part of comedy club nights. Do you know what I mean?
Brilliant.
That's the way. Like, I'm doing my show there, but I've done it 7 years on the trot, and I've never done a show there. I'm just normally doing spots at the comedy club.
See, that's fun.
Oh, it's a comedian session. It's just a session for 3 days. Like, you're on the fucking rip. And I do the big barbecue then for all the comics and stuff. Like, so.
Oh, fuck. I might just come for the barbecue, man.
Oh, yeah.
Barbecue. It's I did my first European festival this year.
Did you?
Well, technically it was the second time I did it, but the first time I did it during lockdown, so it doesn't really count. But the second time
European, I just did it outside of the UK.
Yeah. I actually left. But this one was the Utrecht Comedy Festival, which is just outside Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And in fact, I would say this to any comic that would listen. If you get the opportunity, you have to go and do it. It was one of the most well-run, chilled out, good times I have ever fucking had at a comedy festival in my life. I swear to God.
Classic Dutch.
Honestly, they were not only the nicest people. We took our show, which is called Watch Bad Movies with Great Comedians. We basically put on clips from movies and we take the piss. And it's a bit of a comic show. Like, there's nothing more fun than getting a couple of comics on. And the audience, we all work with a crowd, man, and it's such a laugh. And that was the show they booked in. And then they went, yeah, we'll give you some other spots while you're here. And I just, such a good, pardon the bitterball and the meatballs they have, which are good consistencies like cat food. There's no two ways about it. Yeah. They're fucking delicious.
Yeah.
You might ask, how do I know what cat food tastes like? Well, you just fucking do.
You know.
Yeah, you know.
Between myself and yourself, we've all given it a go.
Why not? I mean, what's the point? We're talking about cat food, right? We're talking about cat food. Because they're giving that a go as well.
Yeah, listen. Yeah, you won't be judged on this show anyway. That's
good to know. That's
for fucking sure.
But no, that was I fucking just loved that. It was the first time I'd ever get so much. And the thing is, I'd always wanted to go to Amsterdam and I'm terrible, man, because I think going on holiday, I need something to do when I'm there. I know that sounds mad, but it's I think about the third place I've ever been in the world when I went, God, I wish my missus was here because she'd fucking love this. And it's nothing worse with her phone going, how's things going? And you're going, I'm having a fucking great time. Fuck, man. Really, it's I'm having the best of times.
It's it is funny,
I haven't stopped laughing since I got here, sitting on the fucking, and they're so effective, man. They're such lovely people. And I remember they get silent carriages and trains. I know you kind of get them in our neck of the woods, but we are sitting on this train, me and one of the other comics, talking at full volume, wearing masks on, kind of thing, talking at full volume, and go I wonder why there's nobody else. Nobody else is
couple
talking.
Of dickheads.
And then we go oh, maybe this is a silent cabin. And then looking at the window where it's written, I'm talking the fucking biggest font, silence right across, but it's inside. Like, oh, fucking hell, man. So there's like 2 or 3 other people in the cabin, and they must be going, these arseholes, these absolute arseholes. But yeah, I can thoroughly recommend that. I haven't had a chat. I haven't been in Galway since I did the tattoo show there a few years ago. I'm not gonna be doing that again. It was good fun, but it's like
too many cocks. Too many cocks, man.
Too many, man. And they're coming at me. It's like, oh Jesus, fuck. You know what I mean? It's like I fell face first into a bucket of hot dogs. It's like fucking Jesus. It's like a magic eye thing. I can't even see. Is that a syllable? I don't know. So many creasy dicks around my face. I don't need it.
I love your use of your children as well on social media, like, because there's so many people that get kind of precious about the. Oh, I don't. You're like, relax. Everybody knows about you, but you use like you and your children are in class. Like,
do you know? It's one of these things. Like, I use them when I don't. I don't go mad. Like, I don't go out of my way. Like, there's some people.
Oh no, no. To clarify for people, I don't mean like there's a whole account with Billy and the kids.
I know.
It's like they pop up once a month, where you'll ask them a question and it'll be like, you know, and
it's weird, man. Like, there's a comedian over here called Stu Who, and I always remember him saying, like, give me a really good piece of advice when I had my first kid, and it was like, make sure the kid becomes a part of your life. It just doesn't become your life. Yeah. You know, like, that's all you do. And my kids are like, they got like, I've got 2 kids with high functioning autism with ASN, right. And they are funnier and smarter than I will ever fucking be. And I just encourage that as much as they can. And they're just silly little kid. And it's one of those things, man. It just makes you laugh. I still remember the announcement of baby number 2. I used my son Loki. And it was like, hey, man, what's that you're holding? And he hands me the scan. And it's like, oh, for fuck. And it was like the closing credits of Curb Your Enthusiasm. It's like, din, din, din. The amount of shit I got for that was unbelievable.
That's class.
Fucking like lad Bible and all that shit, like using it. It's like the only time I've ever gone viral and fuck all. And it was people giving me a hard time. Heartless dad makes fun of new baby.
Of course. Yeah.
Fucking care. Follow and subscribe. That was my fucking attitude. And I'm shit at social media. Like, I'm like, the one thing I always say, like, I'm shit at managing myself. So I'm always like kind of just throwing things against the wall. Like, you get people that come into comedy with like 5-year plans and all that. And my hat's off to them. I do wish they would turn around and go, right, Billy, this is what you do. In fact, I'm going to show you how to do it because you'll never fucking manage it yourself. Like, you know, I kind of wish that would happen, but I just, man, I'm winging it. There's no big team or anything. I'm just fucking winging it and doing what I can. And so the only other employees of Billy Kirkwood Limited are my kids. So, you know, if daddy fancies making a bit of content, then you're going to be fucking in it, whether you like it or not.
I know a narrative I created was with our lad, like, he's just coming up on 3, was that him and the dog, like, up prior to that, it was that the dog was always scheming against me. And then when he was born, like, because the 2 of them got on like a fucking house on fire, you know, I'd do a video and the dog and him would be eyeball. I'd walk in, they'd be whispering, what the fuck are you talking about? No, nothing. I'd be like, but did I keep it up? No, because I'm brutal with social media. Like, I put stuff up at the wrong time, and you know, and I don't want to let that information of the actual right way to run social media in my head. It's clear. I don't. I'm that long doing it now at this stage, and I'm still terrible at it. It's clear that I don't give enough of a fuck.
I've got a couple of mates that have done amazing with it. Of course, Geddes is fucking him and
the kings of it.
Really, I mean, they know what they're doing. But the thing is, I know if they did like a fucking seminar, I would go. I would have the fact sheet, and I guarantee within about 10 minutes I'd have stopped listening. Not because I know it's them and I know it's fucking amazing, but unless it's like 5-point plan, I'll not fucking manage it, man. But I've got a couple of mates that are like, no, you need to post like twice a day. You need to post at this. Oh, fuck, man. I won't do that. I quite like toast and shit. Do you know what I mean? I'm
like, there was a kid at a gig a couple of weeks ago. I say kid, the fucker's like in his mid to late 20s. But again, in my head, the last time I'd seen him was like 21. And he was all high energy, shouty and all the rest. I went, and I said, he's progressed. Fair play to him. You know, he's coming on this show. There's only somebody was saying afterwards, like, yeah, well, I mean, have you not seen his TikTok? I went, seeing his TikTok, I just about see TikTok. I don't really know fully what TikTok is. I have a TikTok. What are we talking about? And he showed it to me. It was 250,000 followers. I'm like, holy fuck. Right. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I don't know how many of those are real people even in this country or whatever. It doesn't matter. There's 250,000 accounts think that this guy's worth following. I went,
yeah.
Okay.
I know.
And he's banging out 2 videos a day, like just like that.
I know people that have sold out fringe runs on TikToks.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, like sometimes the people that are knocking out 2 videos a day, you will look at them and you'll go like, maybe the quality of the jokes isn't like amazing, but I also appreciate that you're knocking these out like 2 a day. And it's like kind of like you'll have something like, oh, trouble with the salt. Oh, fucking 250,000 likes and shit. And you're like, fuck. But then and every now and then I go through stages. I go like, right, I'm gonna do a couple of TikToks. Like I'll do one. All right, that did all right. That got like 3,000. Cool. I'm gonna put a clip on my stand-up that folk are gonna fucking love. Wait, see, it's gonna change comedy. I'll get 200 people looking at it. Not even likes, just looking at it. You're like, are you fucking joking?
18 of them liked, but it's all by people you know, or just people with pictures of cats.
Exactly. Or there's that one guy that gives you a hard time. You're like, oh, go fuck yourself. Absolutely, go fuck yourself.
It's a strange one. This mustache incites people to get excited as being hard writers in America.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they go on and goes, what's this? Flag it talking about. And I'm like, what? Yeah, you're all left. Yeah, left as fuck. I'm going, I'm not any which, what? Fuck off. You're in America, you dickhead. We have nothing to do with you here. I don't give a fuck. But there's no engagement with this, but that'd be the one thing. But one of the first videos I ever put up, and it infuriates me. It got like 500,000 views. It was literally me sitting here, kind of drunk one Friday.
Right.
And I just went, I only just found out today that Polish people don't have a word for toes. They call them fingers of your feet.
I remember that.
You fucking saw that, Billy.
Yeah.
You saw that. That got about 500,000 views. Literally thousands of people telling me about other countries that do it as well. And they're all engaging with each other back and forth. Like there's comments alone.
You're brilliant. This is it. I'm off and running.
And I created sketches, the whole lot, put them up. Not fucking 100 views.
Like, yeah. It's mad.
I don't get this shit.
One of the early ones I think I put up was, oh man, it's like, it was actually an outtake of me doing a stand show. And I think I say something like, it's like, because I've gone weird during lockdown. Like, I try anything. I tried wanking backhand the other day. It's a fucking waste of time. Nothing happens.
Waste of time.
I mean, it can't get the friction. You're just slapping it around. But it got like, again, it was like 100,000 views, and you're like, oh, what am I doing wrong? And then people go, it's your hashtags. Didn't have any hashtags on that one.
Yeah.
So, but such the way it is, man. Such the way it is. I feel bad for the poor fuckers that I think have like got like quite big on TikTok and went, right, this is my job now. And then they're like, you see them like 6 months later going like, yeah, man, I'm not getting the engagement I used to get. This platform is fucked. And it's like, nah, I think that's it. Deep down, you and I don't want to be in the pocket of anybody. Tom, that's what it is. We don't want to be in the pocket.
That's what it is. That's what it is, Billy.
Yeah, we don't want to be in the pocket of Mr. Talk, whatever his fucking name. I hope that's not racist. We don't want to be in the pocket of like fucking TikTok or anything like that. They can't tie this down. They can't tie this down.
It's free. We're outriders. We're outcriers. We can't be fucking nailed down to this bullshit, Billy. Honestly. Fuck that. So tell me, you obviously, Jesus Christ, every time, I know you're in Ayrshire, but every time it just, I hear a hint of a Glasgow accent. I remember doing this stand years ago.
That's fine.
And I did, you do the 3 stands and all the rest of it, the tour, the mini tour. And I did this. It was one of the first times I did. Yeah, it was the first time I did the stand. And we did Edinburgh first. It was lovely. It's lovely and lovely. They
are lovely. They're international. That's the cool thing about Edinburgh is it is like doing London. Like you could hit a front row and not hit one person from Edinburgh.
No,
which I quite like.
But we did Glasgow the following night, and it was kind of the student, and it was wide, but now a clearly very angry woman with haircut tighter than mine, if you know what I mean, and a check shirt.
Nice.
She wanted to fuck me up. She made it to the stage and all. And in my head, I'm kind of going, Is it a feminist move to fucking drop her with a dig? I don't know. But now, in fairness, a man with fangs who was managing the bar at the time, he actually had fangs.
That's my pal Brian.
Yeah. He sorted her the fuck out, reefed
Yeah.
her out of it. And he was like, all right, Tom. I went, all right, I'll keep going, shall I? But I'll never forget, it was like this whirlwind of madness this particular night. It was just people high-fiving and everything. And then she wanted to fight me outside and stuff. And then I remember the MC was quite angry with me too, because I think she was playing from that side of the tennis racket, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
And she was sisters all together. I'm like, oh, fuck all this fucking shit. And I went out with a couple of more comics. And we ended up in this, it was definitely a very gay-friendly bar.
Right.
And this drag queen had caught wind and it had grown Chinese whispers legs at this stage. And apparently I'd been very homophobic. And I'm there standing with a gay comic and everybody's like, no, he didn't. And this dude must have been like 7 foot fucking tall. And he turned into this giant swan. His dress just went. I never getting into a fight with this 7 foot dude dressed like a woman and looked like a swan. And the whole time, like, he's swinging at me, missing. He's just missing. I'm just standing there. It's not a fight. He's just missing. I just found it the most beautifully brilliant. This is how you cap off a night. I got money to tell dick jokes.
Yeah.
A guy with fangs kind of saved me from ending up in a serious situation. And now I'm fighting a lady man swan. This is and I'm drinking a can with a red stripe on it.
There you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
This is why I love comedy. This is why I love comedy.
Man, that's what it is. Like, even when it goes like horribly wrong, it is still the best job in the world. Like, you'll always have, for a fact, it's like, man, there's going to be someone going, man, did you hear what happened to Tom the other night? No, let me fucking tell you, man.
I heard that story back way fucking better. Like, it was choreographed. It was fucking amazing. I heard it back from the lads of Foil Arms and Hog who were there that night. They told this story that it was elaborate. There was lighting. There was fucking.
I love that shit. Like, there used to be a promoter here who claimed he was from Tasmania, but I'm told he was actually from Portsmouth. Can't confirm or deny that. Can't confirm or deny
Portsmouth, the Tasmania of the UK. Yes,
exactly. His name was Mac Starr. Now, Mac, if you're watching, right, then I don't mean any offense, but this is as people know about you. And that's all I can say. I'm not meaning to say any offense or anything. You show me a Tasmanian passport and a birth certificate, I will humbly apologize. However, let me tell you what is well known. So he claims he's from Tasmania. A couple of other Australian comics have went, we don't think he is because the accent's wrong. We don't even know if he's Australian. Rumor has it he's not Australian at all. I mean, he is from Portsmouth. His real name's like Anthony McPartlin, like Ant from fucking Ant and Deck, but never mind. Because people like a couple of Aussie comics had like a couple of his references are off. You know what I mean? Like, people from Australia would know, like people from Scotland and Ireland would know certain things.
Yes, right.
No, but in different parts of the world, we would know things about each other. And he would either know them wrong or get them just completely wrong. You know what I mean? So, but he was a master of a tall tale, and I always loved Mac's tall tales, man. Like he was booking me to do 20 minutes when I had 4. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, it used to be like, you do these gigs all over the country, you get paid like £5 or 15 quid or something, and you'd either die in your hole or you do all right, but it toughens you up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
of course.
You do the gigs to like the farmers in the middle of fucking nowhere, and the fact that you didn't get held up by your neck was like fucking top bob. Do you know what I mean? But what were some of his favorites? Oh yeah, he claimed he burnt down Alf's. Like, he claimed he was in Home and Away and Neighbours. Right? He was.
I don't think that's legally allowed, to be honest.
I don't think that's allowed. I think he was in Home and Away playing himself doing a stand-up gig, right? When he was 15. He apparently burnt down Alf's diner, which was always one of my personal favorites. He also, but he had a couple of, he opened for Elton John. He had a #1 hit single in Texas. What was the other one? He performed for Fidel Castro. Now, the Fidel Castro story is kind of like your story in Glasgow with the 7-foot drag queen. Every comic in Scotland kind of told it like the aristocrats joke. Like, they'd all have their different telling of the joke or of the story. Like, sometimes like, and there'd be little embellishments like people would put in. Like, I remember there being one where it was like, So Fidel Castro's on in front of all the people of Cuba. He's struggling. He's struggling. Mac comes on, saves the gig. Fidel has to have him arrested because, he doesn't want to lose face.
Yep.
And the next day he comes to his cell and thanks Mac for uniting the people of Cuba in laughter. And just as he does that, butterflies form a star on the wall behind him. And that's why he was called Mac Star. But the problem is he's already told you 2 or 3 things that happened before that where his name was Mac Star. So... And then he claimed he was from a Tasmanian Egyptian family and he was the only white guy in the family. And it's like, I don't think that's a thing, man. I don't what the fuck. Just look him up. Look him up. Personal favorite. He's not, I don't think he's gigging anymore. And again, Mac, if you were to see this, I mean, no disrespect, but you know full well that's the stories you've told. And more power to you. I'll always owe you those early gigs.
They've gotten fucking famous now, which is what,
Yeah, well, that's it. Like, honestly, I'll always owe him those gigs, man. I'd always owe him those gigs. And it, like... Oh fuck! Sorry, that's the kids next door playing Wii Sports. We're a high-tech household. I don't mind telling you, Tom.
Oh Jesus Christ! Yeah, we're trying to keep. It's looking like it's going to end up going that way, but right now, at least he's still enjoying sticks and kicking the dog. That
that's
kind of
what
way.
You want. That's
where he's at still. So thank Christ. But that will all change very soon. I just know it will.
Yeah. Like this is not meant to be a sad bit, but I might as well tell, like, my dad died during COVID and he left me a bit of cash. So the first thing I did on the way back from the funeral to cheer myself up is I bought myself a Nintendo Switch.
Because that's what he would have wanted. It's what he would have wanted.
Exactly, because I'm a man and I fucking wanted one. And I went,
Nintendo Switch.
My dad's dead. I'm going to buy a Nintendo Switch. Biggest mistake I ever fucking made. Because, like, literally, I think I had it in my hand 10 minutes before they went, Dad, come on. Just you fucking give us that. I've never seen the fucking thing again. It's in the house somewhere. I don't know where the fuck it is, man. My legacy, my father's legacy is being dribbled over by these wee bastards.
Yeah. It's absolutely covered in snot and underneath the sofa. Yeah. That's where all our legacies are going to end up, Billy. Covered in snot and underneath somebody's fucking sofa.
Fingers crossed. That's the name of the book. That's the name of the book right there. That's the name of the book.
Here, you are, of course, you're doing Edinburgh Fringe. So
yes.
Let us know where is your show? Are you doing just the one show? Or are you bringing your dick reading show?
What's that?
That'd be a name of a good dick reading, instead of a crystal ball, just a bunch of penises coming out of the table.
I bet someone must do that. Someone must do that.
For sure. Between tea leaves, fucking reading your tongue, fucking feed, they try and push this tongue thing as being, it's medical. And you're like, I bet if I showed you my cock, you'd tell me the same thing.
Well, the thing is that the worst thing is that I just don't really like holding willies. I'm not even that fond of them on, to be honest. It's a terrible feeling. It's like, what the fuck is this? I mean, when it's placid, it's definitely not one of my favorite things. Anyway, moving on. The show. Dick reading could be something. Imagine blowing down the end of it like a flute or a Toby jug. And it's gonna be a great spring, and away you go.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a great harvest.
Put your money in wheat.
Ask Jeeves is coming back. Invest early. No. I was back doing the Fringe last year for the first time in fucking ages, because with kids and being busy, and I got in that weird thing where it was like, as a pro comic, like I'd always panic about paying the bills and getting the diary busy.
Yeah.
And then I got the radio, which was nice. And everyone says the same thing. It's like, oh, does the radio mean you can take your foot off? No, I am a self-employed guy on a radio show. Do you know what I mean? It's like it could be gone at any time. So why on earth would I take my foot off? What is my job?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I would, my job is I'm a comedian and will be a comedian after the radio or, whatever happens. So, but I hadn't been in the Fringe in years, which was a really weird thing. And I'd been getting like a little frustrated with, as you do, man. I'm sure, you feel like, why the fuck am I now? Blah, blah, blah. And then I realized that one of the biggest problems with it was me. So, right, I'll start kicking the tires a bit again. Why am I not at the Fringe? I'm a fucking comedian. Why am I not at the Fringe? It's a Super Bowl of comedy, kind of. Even if I'm not going to become huge, or I should be there. So I was meant to do it in 2020. Obviously, that didn't happen. Went back last year in 2021, where it just opened. It just opened. and then we could do shows. And it was great, man, because every show was selling out. There was only about 300 or 400 shows, and there was about like fucking 4,000 normally, whatever it is. It's a bit closer to that number this year.
Yeah.
I have to say, it's a bit closer to that number this year. All these people that were on the coalface, Tom.
Where were you? Where the fuck were you?
Where the fuck with me? I'm gonna be a right dick about anybody. And and it shows you how the Fringe is a stone beast. Like yesterday, they released the top 10 jokes at the Edinburgh Fringe for 2022. The Edinburgh Fringe does not start till next Friday.
Oh my Lord Jesus Christ. There you go. Yeah, there are people, if you're wondering. There you go.
So if you're ever wondering what the industry's like, there that is right there.
There you go.
But no, I'm going to be doing my show back at a place called the Beehive Inn, which is on the Grass Market, run by the Scottish Comedy Festival. It's their venue. They've run a couple of venues this year. That's run by one of my best mates, Rick Molland, who's the resident
man.
weekend.
He's a great man.
Great man. He's one of my best mates in or out of comedy. He runs the Fantastic Monkey Bar. Well, he books and is the resident MC. He's one of the best. He's a killer MC. He's a fucking absolute killer. He runs that every year. And I love their ethos, man. It's pay what you want. You can turn up. So it's not free by any stretch. But if you don't have any money, that's cool. That's cool. Come and enjoy the show. Everybody should be able to come. I don't want anyone paying 20 quid for a fucking work in progress with someone that was a special guest and fucking pointless.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, my show's going to be a fucking mess, right? Like I say this every year. The whole point is it's part chaos, part workshop. I'm turning up at the Fringe with a bunch of ideas. By the end of it, I'm going to have a new 20 minutes and what I'm going to take on tour, maybe. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think, so I can honestly say to someone, if you come in the first week, if you come back the second week, you're going to see a different show. It's going to be a different show. So I'm doing that every day. It's called Energetic. Terrible name. But like last year,
genuinely, I saw your poster come up on Instagram a couple of days ago and I went, that's a nice thing to say. Oh, that's the name of the show. I thought
exactly
like the Scotsman.
Scottish man. I should have. But the thing is, if I put me in a kilt and it just said Hoots, I'd sell out every fucking ticket.
Oh yeah,
man.
you would. Yeah,
I'd sell out every ticket. But and I was gonna. I won't lie. I was gonna call it Billy Kirkwood Kilt It. You know, like I don't know. And did a balls because I let other people get in my fucking ear. So. Anytime that the show's going to be quiet, I'm going to say to myself, you fucking listen to yourself. So doing a show Energetic, like I say, it's pay what you want. If you want to come along, you put a couple of quid in the bucket, or you can reserve a seat for a $5. So
perfect.
The whole thing is like, if the room's full when you turn up, there's nothing I can do. But if you've reserved the seat for £5, there'll definitely be a seat there waiting for you. And that's it, man. It's so I'm doing that this year. It's going to be great. Looking forward to it. I always like it's nice just to get a hang out with other comics that are doing a lot better than you. And then a couple that aren't, and you go, good. I'm glad. It's nice that it's back. This feels like the kind of in between one. I've got big plans for next year. So it's gonna be cool. I'm looking forward to it, and it's a great venue. If anyone finds themselves going to the Fringe, they don't have an app this year because they're stingy, money grabbing bastards at the Edinburgh Fringe. They don't have an app, so because they had an app last year where you could just like go near a show and it would go perfect, and that helped out Tom so many fucking shows. But for some reason they don't want it this year. On the year, all the shows with big advertisers and stuff are back. Yeah. I'm not saying that's a coincidence. I'm not saying it's a coincidence.
We don't have our tinfoil hats on just yet, people, but at the same time.
Well, you know the conspiracy guys, if they ever want to do an episode, I'm sure we can get the comedy Illuminati.
They fucking exist. That's the thing. That one fucking exists.
So I'm going to do that, and it's going to be great fun. And I'm just looking forward to being a part of the Fringe again.
Class. I'm going to put the link down in the show notes of this because loads, like there's a rake of Scottish listeners as well on this too. So, I mean, and there'll be a load of people going over for the Fringe. I'm not myself, even though I do have a new show, but that's why I put it on the road here. I didn't give a fuck about what kind of time of the year it was. I've been putting it on in different places, and it's been selling well because I'm picking rural places. Now, I've done a couple of cities, like I did Cork and I did Belfast, but I avoided Dublin because Dublin is just chock-a-block with shit at the minute. And I'm not going there to be disappointed. So, but also we will be building a house this
Well,
year.
there you go.
So
See, one of the reasons I did the Fringe last year, man, is and the reason I think it's good doing the Fringe because it means you've got to get onto stage for like 20 days in a row.
Yeah.
And like when I was going to do the Fringe in 2020, it was like, well, that'll get me match fit. And I like so many old school comics I've talked to here, like I hate old school, how fucking terrible expression, but you know what I mean? Guys have been doing it a long, long time. Like the founding fathers of the scenes here would always say, you turned up at the Fringe with a blank page, and by the end of it, you had the show, and that was the one you I've always kind of treated it like, yeah. That's what I want to do. I'd happily avoid the Fringe. I think if I could, and I have previously. So it just feels like something a bit different. And but I get what you're saying. Like next year, I might be signing on with an agency. I don't know. We're kind of. I don't fucking even at that. It's like, do you know what it is? It's like, remember you used to get the dancing at school.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, are you want to dance? It's like, I don't know. Are you want to dance? What fucking.
Well, we're verbally dancing. We should just actually fucking dance.
Yeah. So, and so big plans for next year. I'll probably take like another quite off the wall show next year, I think, rather than like I'll tour a straight stand-up show.
Yeah.
Like, and then I'll take something at the Fringe that people go, the fuck is this about? And I'll go, I don't know.
Ferrets with Calculators by Billy Kirkwood. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. It's going to be me reading dicks.
Yeah. I would go to that. I would definitely, not that I wouldn't go to your stand-up, but I most definitely would go see. I would make a U-turn on most streets if I thought you were up the other end reading dicks.
The difficult thing is if there is an audience of all women, it's like, fuck girls, I don't know what we're gonna do here. I'm not a fanny whisperer. I can like, you know what I mean?
That can be part. That can be the following year.
That's when vagina ventriloquism.
That's definitely been done somewhere in New York or London for sure. That's been done. That's
the puppetry of the penis boys. They never did that. They never did talking fannies. Boys, money on the table. Money on the table.
Come on, Jesus Christ! Is anybody fucking taking notes? Billy Kirkwood, this has been an absolute joy. Thank you so much for jumping on Buckshot.
Man, it's been too long as well, man. Hopefully I'll see you in real life soon. But yeah, thank you for having me. Fucking awesome podcast. Awesome podcast. And who knows, this time next year we might be TikTok kings. We might be kings of TikTok, who knows?
We'll start our own tactics. There we go. Couple of tactics. It features nothing but speaking to illustrated penises.
It's gonna rain tomorrow. It's gonna rain tomorrow, everyone.
What a gentleman. Thank you very, very much, Billy. Look down the show notes where you'll find the likes of the Patreon link and stuff. Right beside that, Billy's show in Edinburgh for the run of the festival. Get on it. Follow him on Instagram too. He's class. He's always putting up really, really good stuff between the wrestling and just crack with the kids and stuff like that. There's never a dull moment. There's never, as you just listened, there's never a dull moment. What an absolute gentleman. Fair play to you. Subscribe if it's your first time listening. If you did skip the intro or whatever, do please hit subscribe, hit the bell so it lands in your phone all the time. There are benefits, of course, to being a Patreon. As every podcast has a Patreon, you get the live Ramble Pods during the week, which I always forget to remember. And as well as that, we do a live pod with patrons on the 7th. Gonna do it over Zoom, have a bit of crack, no recording or not, and you can hang out in the darkness if you want and just, watch on. We all have a drink, bit of crack, bit of chat. You know yourself, it's great. Care, County Tipperary on September 10th, and there'll be a couple more dates coming up for my show Clatted, but the 10th is the next one in Care, County Tipperary, where I am going to be on the session after that one. So if nothing else, you want to come for a sesh, that's where I'll be. Tickets will be on sale for Patreons on the 10th. Or sorry, it'll be on sale on the 2nd, I think. Yeah, Tuesday the 2nd. And then later in the week on the Friday, it'll be out for general release. But look, you want to get in early, the Patreons could clear it all out. Just tell you. Anyway, boys, girls, and everything in between. Have a lovely weekend, and I'll talk to you again next week. Good night, good blessing, thanks.